Good morning. Today, this is almost our last lesson on new things on code.org. We're going to discuss a new type of loop. As you can see on the top here, it says this is a for loop. And for loops are just like how while loops were a combination of conditional statements and normal, just like repeat loops. For loops are a combination of two things as well. And it's basically using a variable in a loop, using a variable in a loop. And you'll see this in the blocks that we use. Okay, so we're going to go through some examples, and I'll come back to this explanation so that it's more clear. Okay, so let's try out a few questions. I'm going to start off by doing this without using a for loop. I'm going to use a variable. Let's say, they already have a variable for me. Nope. So I'm going to call this, since we're going to be gathering these flowers, I'm going to call this gather, or gather nectar. I'm going to set it to 1. Because we want to start, we need to gather 1, then we need to gather 2, gather 3, gather 4. And I'm sure you have an idea of how this is going to play out. So I'm going to repeat this. We need to do this 5 times. So let me add the number 5 here. And every time I repeat this, I'm just going to move forward once, then repeat this gather times. I'm going to get nectar gather times. Okay? So just to, I guess, show you what this is without the loop. If I click run here, the bee is just going to move forward once and gather nectar once because gather is 1 right now. If I do this 5 times, it's only going to gather once every time. So 1, 1, 1, 1. And that's not what we want. Every time we repeat this loop, we need to set gather and add 1. Right? So go to math. And increase gather by 1. So I'm going to say plus 1. That way, the first time we gather, it's going to be just 1 nectar. Second time is going to be 2. Third time, 3, and so on. Let's see how this works out. All right. Okay. Perfect. So compare this code, okay, to what would happen if we would use the for loop. Okay, so the for loop looks like this. Let me put this here to the side. What is this? Okay. It looks like this. It says for counter from 1 to 10, count by 1. And just so we can break this down a bit. So this counter is a variable. Okay, so we just created a variable here. This 1 is the start. This is the start. 10 is the end. So it starts at 1. Our variable starts at 1. It ends at 10. And this number here is the interval. So what's happening here is this. We're basically saying set counter to 1. Meaning we're starting at 1. Then we're saying add 1 each time. So every time this loop repeats, we add 1 because we add our interval. Whatever our interval is, this is what we add. So we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. And then stop. So stop repeating the loop when you reach 10. And 10 here is our end. If this was 20, then we would stop at 20 and so on. So we're starting at 1. We're adding 1 each time because we're adding our interval each time. And then we're stopping when we reach our end. So the pattern is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are going to be the values of the variable counter each time until you get to 10, and then it's going to go past the loop. Okay, let's try this out. So let's reset this. I'm starting at 1. I don't really need to end at 10 because the most I have here is 5. So I'm going to end at 5. And I'm going to count by 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what I want to do is move forward. And then I want to get nectar. But this get nectar I want to repeat as many times as my variable counter. So let's put in another loop. I'm going to say repeat this counter times. Okay? And let's see what happens. And so it's working perfectly fine right now. We move forward, and then in the first step, we just move forward, and counter is equal to 1. So when I click step, it's just going to collect once. Then we're done with this loop, so it's going to start again. And this time, counter is going to be equal to 2 because we've added 1. And so it's going to move forward once, and it's going to collect twice. See? All right. Let's look at another example. So in this case, we're going to do the same, almost the same thing. We're going to start our counter where you need to move forward. We need to get nectar. And we need to repeat this get nectar as many times as our variable. So our variable here is counter, and that's that. But in this case, we're not starting from 1. We're starting from 5. So instead of 1, I'm going to put 5 here. And we're not ending at 10. We're ending at 1. Right? Because we're starting at 5 and we're going 4, 3, 2, 1. And we still count by 1 because we're subtracting 1 every time. So we're starting at 5, we're going 4, 3, 2, 1. And so let's see how this works out. All right. Let's try another one. Now in this case, we can see that the nectar goes 1, 3, 5, 7. So if we just set up our for loop here, we're going to start at 1, we're going to end at 7, but we're not counting by 1 this time, we're counting by 2, because by 2, because we're going 1 to 3. So 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 plus 2 is 5, 5 plus 2 is 7, and everything else is the same. So move forward, repeat counter times, and get nectar. All right? All right, that's it for today. I want you to finish all of lesson 22, including the challenges. A lot of you had trouble in the challenges in the last lesson, which is great. They should be challenging, and there are very creative ways to solve them. Okay? Remember, email me with screenshots if you have any questions, and good luck. I'll see you at some point. Bye.